And I'm going to share with you how I have made tens of millions of pounds from networking and how you can do exactly the same thing. Who do you spend most of your time with? Are they the right kind of influence? Are they people who are going to encourage you, support you? Just 1 or 2 minutes of advice from someone more experienced can save you hours and hours of trying to Google something. You can make expensive mistakes in property. If you don't know what you're doing, it's possible to waste or lose tens of thousands of pounds. You can absolutely achieve whatever you want to achieve in your property investing if other people have already done it. Hello and welcome to this episode of the Property Magic Podcast, in which I'm going to share with you one of the #1 success hacks that you can use to achieve all of your dreams and goals. And I'm going to share with you how I have made tens of millions of pounds from networking and how you can do exactly the same thing. After all, property is a people business. It's all about relationships. And some people, they like going out, meeting new people. Some people don't like doing that. I'm going to give you some hints and tips about how you can grow your network and how you can monetize your network. The first thing I want to talk about is environment. You see, you will become, and you are like, the 5 people you spend most of your time with. If you are spending your time with ultra successful people, just by the force of nature, you will become more successful. Whereas if the people you hang out with are not really going to do anything with their life, they're kind of losers, unfortunately, that's your fate as well. And you have the power to choose your destiny partly by the environment you surround yourself in. So, my question to you is, think about who do you spend most of your time with? Are they the right kind of influence? Are they people who are going to encourage you, support you, and nurture your desire? Or are they going to be people who might be critical and maybe pull you back down to their level? And sometimes, to be really successful, you have to make some tough decisions. You have to decide who you're going to spend your time with. And unfortunately, sometimes those people who might not be as supportive as you like might be family members. And it's difficult to do anything about that. Maybe you can shut off some of the things you listen to that they tell you. But when it comes to friends, when it comes to work colleagues, people you decide to spend time with, then you are in ultimate control to decide who you put yourself in an environment with. Last week, I had an amazing time. We went for a skiing trip with 32 people on our property mastermind program. We went to the French Alps for a week. It was basically a ski trip, social trip. Obviously, it was a business trip, so people were able to claim the expense of that business trip through their property business, of course. And there was some business done, of course, but there was a lot of socializing and getting to know people. And I absolutely guarantee that the people who were on that trip, because they got to know the other people, there will be joint ventures, there will be collaborations that will come out of that deeper connection. And if you want to work with other people, and by the way, most people, they run out of their own money at some point. And so if you want to be able to continue investing, a key thing you need to develop is the concept of using other people's money. And no one is going to lend you money or want to joint venture with you if, first of all, they don't know you or they don't like you and trust you. And that is something that happens over time as you build a relationship. It always makes me smile and cringe slightly when I hear people who go to a property investor network meeting for the very first time, expecting to meet a line of people queuing up to lend them money to invest in property. Well, that's just not going to happen. But the reality is there are people in that room who have money, who maybe would lend money to you if they know you, if they like you, if they trust you, and they believe you know what you're doing and you're going to look after the money and give them a great return on the money. The people are there, but they don't have a badge saying, I've got money, come and speak to me. You've got to take the time to build the relationship and get to know those people, build those working relationships. And the power of your network is so important. If you're wanting to invest in property, especially if you're doing something you maybe haven't done before, or you're doing a bigger project you've done before, it can be quite scary and fear can hold you back. Whereas if you know people who are more experienced than you, people who have done what you want to do, and you've got a relationship, they won't mind if you send them a quick WhatsApp message or a quick call, because just 1 or 2 minutes of advice from someone more experienced can save you hours and hours of trying to Google something or chat GP something and not even knowing if the information you're getting back is correct. Because if you work with people more experienced, and if you go to a network meeting, you'll find most people are pretty abundant. They're happy to talk about what they've done and how they've done it. And people don't hold back. They don't guard their secrets, which is what the culture is in most businesses. If you're in a corporate culture, people generally don't help each other as much as they should. Because if you help someone else, maybe they might progress up the ladder quicker than you do, and that might stop you moving. That thing doesn't really exist in property. When people come and they really understand the abundant environment, they realize that there are so many properties out there. There's so many people looking to sell. You might bump into someone occasionally who's looking at the same property as you, who you know, but it's not really going to happen. There's so much out there. There's more than you can possibly do yourself. When you understand that and you realize that people at network meetings are there to help you and encourage you, and maybe they might work with you somehow in the future, it changes the perspective. So you need to grow your network. You need to think about the people you spend your time with. Are the community of people with you going to support you and encourage and champion you to move forward? Or are they going to be critical and negative and pull you back? And sometimes those people are people who love you, and they just don't want you to make expensive mistakes. And by the way, you can make expensive mistakes in property. If you don't know what you're doing, it's possible to waste or lose tens of thousands of pounds. And your loved ones don't want you to make those mistakes. They don't want you to lose out, but they're coming from a place of their inexperience and their lack of knowledge. This is why investing in yourself and educating yourself so you learn what to do and minimize and mitigate the risks as much as possible, then you've got a much better chance of being a more successful investor. And there's so much information. There's free information. There's this podcast every single Tuesday. There's lots of videos on my YouTube channel you could watch. Going to a network meeting, you go to your very first networking meeting completely free of charge, just to come and check it out to see what you've been missing out on. Then there's a small investment to go back, but it's a very small investment compared to the knowledge you can gain, compared to the contacts you can pick up, the network you can grow, and the inspiration and belief you can build in your mind that you could absolutely achieve whatever you want to achieve in your property investing if other people have already done it. You're not the frontier fighter here. You're not the first person looking to replace your income from property or build a legacy for your family. There are so many people who've done it before you. And if you just tap into some of their knowledge and some of their expertise by building relationships and connections, I promise you your property investing journey is going to be much more enjoyable, and you're going to get to the end result much quicker than if you're trying to do things on your own. And by the way, this doesn't just apply to property. In any business, you should be going to industry-related events to meet other people in that business, in that industry, who you can connect with and grow. When I think about my personal journey, and people who I've worked with, whether it's been joint venture partners, people who've come and worked in my business for me or partnered with me, many of them are people I've met at some point on my journey. And we may not have always kept in touch, but because we've had a good relationship, it's amazing how it comes around and you do business with people in the future who you've met in the past. This is why it's so important to look after your relationships, treasure your relationships. If I think about some of the people who I've learned from and who've influenced me, a great way to get to know someone and someone you admire, someone you want to work with maybe in the future, is maybe become a client of theirs. So many, many years ago when I ran my very first Property Magic Live, it's our annual event where we get hundreds of investors to come, all our mastermind students and other people to come together and share with them the latest insights and really inspire them for 3 days. I wanted to get a well-known property figure. And at the time, I reached out to a gentleman called Dolph DeRoos. Now, Dolph DeRoos, you may or may not know of him. This was, almost 20 years ago now. Dolph DeRoos was the person who Robert Kiyosaki, the author of Rich Dad, Poor Dad, Robert Kiyosaki went to Dolph to write the book about property in the Rich Dad series. So if Robert Kiyosaki rates him as a property investor, he's got to know a thing or two, right? And Dolph is a lovely guy, an amazing character. We're really good friends now. But it started by me hiring him and paying him a substantial fee to fly over business class, which I also paid for, to the UK to come and speak at an event. And he loved it. He loved our community. He loved our crowd. He loved what I was doing and helping people through our mastermind program. And I've employed him several times. But now we're really good friends. He lives in Phoenix, and I used to go to Phoenix on a regular basis. I used to go to a mastermind group 3 times a year in Phoenix. And I'd sometimes fly 10.5-hour flights just to go and have 2 days in Phoenix and fly straight back. Where possible, I'd take a bit of extra time, and if Dov was in town, I'd meet up with him, we'd go and have lunch or dinner, connect, and we're now really good friends. But that friendship, and I'm sure we will at some point do a property deal together. We haven't done one yet, but it's going to happen. But it started with me investing my money in that relationship by hiring him. And you know what? People on my ski trip that we just did, there are people on my mastermind, they've invested in themselves. They've joined our mastermind program. And I was there. We didn't just talk about property. We talked about all sorts of things, the films, music, etc., culture. But you know what? There was a lot of talk about property. And people had direct access to me, and they had to help with deals. We had a couple of people who were doing deals while they were there. They'd go skiing for the day, they'd come back, they'd call sellers in the evening. People doing deals. They had my input and my help, personally guiding them because they're one of our clients. Didn't charge them any extra because they're friends now, because they've invested in themselves. So one of the best ways to get people, to meet people who you want to connect with, you aspire to work with, is maybe spend some money, become a client of theirs, work with them, be proactive, raise your profile, and you never know where that might go. It all starts with thinking about who are the people you're spending most of your time with. Are you in the right environment, or do you need to get into a better group that's going to stretch you, grow you, and support you as you move forward with all your business and property goals? I do hope this has inspired you to think about your environment, think about your network, go and connect, build deeper working relationships with people in your industry that you can just pick up the phone or send a quick message to. They can help you. You might partner with them one day. It's all there for you. You just need to tap into it. And as ever, until the next episode, I encourage you to invest with knowledge, invest with skill.